Today's event is titled Tanzania, a Country Transformed. I think President Kikwete would agree that this is a country that is in a transformation that's still very much underway. Tanzania has enjoyed political stability in a very volatile neighborhood since its independence. The leadership has taken on very important and really transformative economic reforms in the last decade, and as a result, the country has seen sustained growth in the last 10 years and projected growth of averaged 7% in the coming years.
As the first African president to be received by President Barack Obama at the White House in May of 2009, I'm honored now to once again welcome back to Washington, Tanzania's visionary leader. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming President Jakaya Kikwete to the podium. Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Johannes, and thank you, dear friends. Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak at this distinguished institution. Well, I don't know how the structure is going to be.
Keep it shorter, then we'll have a dialogue.
Okay. Well, in fact, there are two things that, from what I understand, I've been asked here to share thoughts about how Tanzania has become a success story, and about how outside assistance has helped in contributing to the growth of our country. Well, what I can simply say that the answer I can say to that question is we have succeeded because we have put in place sound political and economic policies, and we have been resolute in pursuing the implementation of those policies. When I took the decision to seek for the presidency of our country, and after being nominated, I developed a vision for our country. And on the political side, the first thing that I found to be important for me is holding the country together. You know, Tanzania is unique, is a land of diversity. One, we are a country that has been created in 1964 from the merger of two independent and sovereign states, the People's Republic of Zanzibar and the Republic of Tanganyika. We've been a union for 48 years. There are stresses and strains in the union. So holding the country with that first diversity is itself a challenge of its own, because you don't want to be the president who did the overseeing the breakup of that country. So this has been the number one challenge in terms of holding the country together. So we have a joint committee between the government of Zanzibar and the union government. We meet regularly to discuss issues of the cooperation between the two countries. There have been a host of issues. What I discovered is that committee has not been meeting regularly. Then I gave instructions that committee has to meet. Even if they don't have anything, let them come there, sit together and say, Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Do you have anything today? Nothing. Everything is fine? Okay, drink a cup of coffee, disperse. So this committee has worked very well. I think we've been able to sort out many of the outstanding issues. Of course, we still have very few left. Some of them look teethy, but there are ways of resolving them. And we have embarked on a constitutional review now. Some of those questions that need clauses in the Constitution to be inserted, we will definitely do that. So I'm hopeful that we should be able to overcome that. The second is the diversity of the people. We have 120 tribes. Some of them big. Some of them, like mine, very small. I think we are close to 250,000 in a land of 42 million. So you can see the beauty of a country, of our country, that someone from a very small tribe can become president of the country and be supported by everybody else. So these are some of those compliments that we have for our country. But we have people of all races, subscribing to all religions. Hinduism is there, Muslim, Islam is there, Christianity is there. Well, there are many, in a few millions, who are yet to decide. Some people call them atheists. It's a bit derogatory. I would usually say they are yet to be convinced which way to go. But now we have people from different political affiliations and persuasions. Because we were a one-party state, became a multi-party state, and thereafter we have a diversity. Now we have 19 registered political parties. You have only 2. You can imagine the diversity we have. So at times there are frictions between the political parties. So again, holding the country together under such circumstances is itself a challenge of its own. So the issue has been that we should have political policies. That the overriding thing to me has been, let's have political policies that will ensure equal opportunity for every Tanzanian, no discrimination against anyone because of his tribe, race, religion, political affiliation, or which part of the union, or which part of the country he or she comes from. It has worked well in the past. We think it's the best policy for us to ensure that we continue that policies. And then the second thing which I found critical, again, was the issue of good governance. That the country has to be governed well. You know, in Africa, in the past, of course, I'm not sure now, some leaders used to complain, to think that, to be reminded of, please ensure that there's good governance. And it is good. But how do you govern a country badly? And when somebody says, please, govern well, and you think this person who is telling you to govern well is the bad man. And so I said, pursuit of good governance is a fundamental matter for me and for our administration. One, we have to ensure that we continue to entrench democracy. Economic growth thrives best where there is good governance. If there is democracy, if there is rule of law, there is respect for human rights, respect for basic freedoms, freedoms of expression, freedom of association, freedom of religion, and all, where these basic freedoms are observed, things will always be good. Because we are doing that vibrantly. We have a very vibrant place. And I don't know how many daily newspapers we have. You need to have a big budget to be able to buy all of them. And all of them always speak about the government. They have not done this, they have not done that, they have not done that. Very free. Some say too free to a fault. But I've been saying, we've just started opening up, we've just opened up. Some point somewhere, the water will find its own levels. We said government has to fight vices in society. Crime, corruption, narcotic drugs, money laundering, and so on and so forth. But in order to achieve this, definitely we have to concentrate on building the institutions of democracy, the institutions of governance. So what we've been doing is really to see what can we do to strengthen the judiciary, its independence and its capacity to deliver justice, to strengthen the parliament so that it can perform its role of oversight of government. I want to give you the assurance that we have an independent judiciary. No interference from government. We have a parliament that is always keeps government on its toes. When I opened parliament, I said, look, parliamentarians, you have got to be free. Tell the ministers, tell the government the truth. But make sure that what you are saying also is true. Don't use that freedom to tell lies or to be vindictive, so that somebody you don't like, use that freedom of being a member of parliament to make sure that you undermine him. Ultimately, he'll be removed. So I'm really happy. And then, of course, I emphasize the fact that government has to be able to collect revenue. So we embarked on a process of strengthening the revenue authority, our IRS. And we got a lot of support from IRS here to come and train our people. I remember at one time when I was foreign minister, my president was talking to President Clinton at that time in New York, asking about the services of IRS. I remember everybody in the Clinton team burst into laughter. And then President Clinton asked our president, President Mkapa, do you know why they're laughing? He says, I don't know. I think it was Gail Smith who said, well, they can take all of them to Tanzania. They can have all of them. And then President Clinton said, we don't like paying taxes here.